am super excited about the review we have for you today. And this really just came about by chance. I was at the grocery store actually, and I came across something that I was really surprised to see, and it brought back a lot of memories. It is Clearly Canadian, and you can see right there. Now it looks quite a bit different from the Clearly Canadian that I remember growing up. Man, I remember drinking this as a kid. My mom used to get huge packs of these at Sam's Club, and this is one of our favorite things to drink at parties, birthday parties, going to the beach. Like, I remember, and there were 4 or 5 different flavors, and I just remember drinking this all the time and loving to drink this. And it went away. Like, I haven't seen this in a really long time. I think they stopped manufacturing it, at least in the United States. It's a product of Canada, as the name suggests, Clearly Canadian. And they used to sell it in really large plastic bottles. It was back when there was all the rage around clear sodas. You had Pepsi Clear, which I hope they bring back again. I was glad they brought it back a year or 2 ago on a limited release. But these Clearly Canadians used to be super popular as well. And it was just a regular priced soda from what I remember. Like I said, we bought them at Sam's Club. I believe it went through, after that initial recipe, it went through a couple iterations. Of course, now most people will associate fruit clear soda with something that's calorie free. And me personally, I do not drink sodas that use artificial sweeteners. If I'm going to drink a soda, I want it to be full flavor, full sugar. So it's always been disappointing to me to see a lot of these flavored soda releases that are clear but end up being 0 calorie, sugar free. You don't really get the same flavor that you're going to get with a regular sweetened beverage. So I believe that Clearly Canadian kind of went that same path. They changed the recipe, went 0 calorie, basically destroyed the brand. And now it seems that, although it's not readily available, it is being manufactured again. And I believe they've gone back to the original recipe. Now, like I mentioned, there's several different flavors of this. Today I have for you the country raspberry version, as you can see here. But there's cherry, all sorts of different types of berry. And I was trying to remember which flavor I like the most, but if I remember, I think the raspberry or the cherry were my 2 favorite flavors. So I'm really excited to give this a try. And again, this is definitely being packaged and marketed as a higher end beverage. Like I said, the Clearly Canadians I remember as a child were in large plastic bottles, probably 24 ounces. Now it's definitely marketed as an upscale beverage. It's in a snazzy glass bottle. This was pretty expensive for a soda. This was around $2.50, $3, and again, maybe in Canada it's more readily available, but here in my neck of the woods, I found this at a local liquor store where they sold it by the bottle, and it's a far cry from the Clearly Canadian that I had as a kid. But again, I'm hopeful that at least maybe this is the same recipe, and I want to harken back to those flavors I remember as a child and really see if this is the same recipe or if it tastes slightly different or even completely different from the Clearly Canadian that I remember so well. So let's give it a try. So we have here a bottle of Clearly Canadian Country Raspberry. And again, I'm super excited to give this a try. And of course, I'm going to, when it comes to beverages, at least non-alcoholic beverages, I am going to try this from a glass with ice and then also straight out of the bottle. And let's give it that first crack and maybe we'll get that satisfying pop. All right. We have it's actually kind of a limited amount of carbonation. Does have that sweet. You can definitely tell this isn't one of those effervescent scented sodas that are so popular now, like a LaCroix, which is basically like LaCroix basically to me tastes like at lemonade that you used to drink at summer camp, but they would put 5 times as much water to powder as they were supposed to, because everyone that ran those camps were cheapskates and thought they had to water down the lemonade. That's what LaCroix taste like to me, but hey, I guess people like them. All right, so we have the Clearly Canadian Country Raspberry. Very sweet sugar scent on the nose. Let's give it a sip. So straight out of the bottle, I don't know, this is not what I remember. I don't know if it's the fact that it's coming out of a glass bottle instead of a plastic bottle. Because again, I remember this being in a sizable plastic bottle, chugging this as a kid as I ran around the beach. And maybe it's something with the packaging, the glass. It still tastes to me like it should come out of a plastic bottle. And I don't know if the discrepancy I'm tasting is the fact that it's the packaging and this is marketed now as a high-end beverage and I remember drinking it out of a plastic bottle, or if it actually just tastes different. But I'm actually thinking that it probably tastes the same or similar. It's just that I just associate this with a plastic bottle, not a high-end beverage. And it's possible they changed the formula as well. Let's give it one more sip here. So yeah, it's definitely less carbonation than you would expect from a soda, a normal soda. And it says on the front, sparkling water beverage. So they're emphasizing the clearness of the water. So as far as the flavor goes out of the bottle, one more sip here. And you actually taste the initial taste is water. You get some sweet, a little bit of carbonation midway up the tongue, where you get that, and it's country raspberry. That slight raspberry flavor, but it's not an intense flavor. It's almost, the flavor's there, but it's a little bit watered down. It's not an intense flavor. And I'd say part of that's probably due to the fact that this is being marketed as more of a healthy beverage now. So I think maybe they dropped the calories down a little bit. So yeah, you get. I mean, it's pleasant. Don't get me wrong, it's pleasant, but the flavor profile is going to be a little muted compared to what I would say is a full calorie soda, but definitely more flavor than something like a LaCroix. A lot more flavor than something like a LaCroix, where you're just more getting the essence of whatever flavor you're drinking. Let's go ahead and try it out of since this is a higher end beverage, this is coming out of a glass bottle. It's not something you're going to be chugging, running around on the beach or near the swimming pool, obviously. Maybe this is going to be better on ice. So let's go ahead and try it here on ice. Alright, so we get some nice combination here. And yeah, this maybe is more of a better fit here for the Clearly Canadian of today. As I pour this into my glass, I imagine drinking this at a French bistro in Quebec, seeing the bubbles come up from the glass as I pour it, and as I feel a little bit more sophisticated. So let's go ahead and try this out of a glass with a little bit of ice here. So So first off the bat, drinking it on ice, obviously, like you would expect from any beverage, carbonated beverage, it's going to mute those flavors down even another level. So whereas I tasted the country raspberry, although still a little bit muted, here with the ice, the additional cold, plus the fact that I have ice now melting into the Clearly Canadian country raspberry, it's going to mute those flavors even more for me. Yeah. So although the presentation maybe is a little more in line, drinking this out of a glass, I would definitely say do not drink this on ice, do not drink this in a glass. The subtle flavors that are present in the Clearly Canadian virtually disappear when drinking this over ice. The mixture of the cold and the dilution from the ice, I'd say it's a no-go. Alright, so overall, like I said, this is one of my favorite sodas as a kid. The whole Clearly Canadian line of flavored clear sodas. A huge fan of clear sodas in general. You know, I love Pepsi Clear. I love the whole clear soda movement. I hope it makes a comeback, and I'm really glad to see Clearly Canadian available on shelves. Although, again, it's unfortunately quite different from the Clearly Canadian that I knew as a child. It seems like the mass market wasn't ready, or they don't feel is ready for clear sodas again, so they're marketing this as more of a boutique, high-end, healthy soda. So it's quite expensive. Again, $2.50 for this bottle. It's in a small glass bottle. Again, I wouldn't drink this on ice. It dilutes the flavor. But it does have a nice, clear, healthy feel. You have that somewhat muted country raspberry flavor. Again, drink it out of the bottle to get that full flavor profile. And I'd say if you're someone that loved Clearly Canadian as a kid, go ahead and buy a bottle for old time's sake. Again, unfortunately, because of the price and because of kind of the change in marketing, this isn't something I would be going out and buying and drinking on a regular basis, but I'd just buy one, crack it open for old time's sake, and enjoy it when you have a couple free moments on a weekend to reminisce and feel a little bit nostalgic. So here you go, Clearly Canadian Country Raspberry.